Can the Stallions run away from a crowded pack? Will the Strikers shock the undefeated Grizzlies?
Running from the boundary for the fielder who makes the catch.
Is it curtains already for St. Louis? Will the rain put out Atlanta's fire?
Oculus ready once again.
All this and more on the mid-season edition of Emerging Cricket's Minor League Cricket Show.
Week 4 saw more tight action in the Bay as the undefeated Grizzlies won over visiting SoCal Lashings, setting up a meaningful Sunday face-off between Golden State and the Silicon Valley Strikers. The Grizzlies set a solid target of 131, but it was no match for Unmuck Chan and Arsh Butch, whose 73-run partnership helped the Strikers to victory with 7 balls to spare. Chan scored his first minor league 50 in the process while supporting Butch's speedy 44 from 31. At the midway point of the season, the West table is top-heavy with Bay Area teams, each separated by just a game. The Strikers are on top at the moment in what's shaping up into a 3-horse race. SoCal will travel to Merrymore Park to face Seattle Thunderbolts for a Cricket in the Community weekend, while the Southern California teams once again face off against Bay Area teams at Morgan Hill and Santa Clara. With no direct matchups between any of the top 4 teams, the West will count on upsets to stir the playoff picture. The Central featured only 3 games in Week 4, with the Chicago Blasters defeating the still winless Chicago Catchers, and the Michigan Cricket Stars winning a pair against the St. Louis Americans. Michigan's wins put them just barely in second place ahead of Austin in net run rate, with 22 points. Both Austin and table toppers Houston Hurricanes have a game in hand over the Cricket Stars. The stakes are raised in Week 5, especially for Michigan, who play 2 can't-miss games against 3rd place Austin Athletics and 4th place Irving Mustangs. In the South, the Atlanta Parmveers followed an 8-wicket win over the Beamers with a massive 247-run first innings against Orlando Galaxy on the back of centuries from both Mark Parchment and Zain Syed. But their glory was dampened by a game abandoned due to rain. Atlanta Fire beat Orlando in the first game of a doubleheader on Saturday by 86, but Orlando fought back with a little help from Duckworth Lewis, as Danae Nathaniel blasted a trio of 6s in the shortened game to win man of the match and help Orlando split the series. The Fire got their turn to capitalize on a shortened Duckworth Lewis innings on Sunday against the winless Beamers, winning by 6 wickets. At Church Street Park, the Fort Lauderdale Lions stunned the Cardinals in a shortened 15 overs game, scoring 110 in the first innings before aborting the Cardinals' chase with 5 quick power play wickets, eventually bowling them out for 83 with 9 balls left on the table, winning by 27.
In a short version of the game, in 15 overs, what was key is knowing that because of the boundary, these boundaries here is like 75 yards right or wrong, which is pretty big, So me as an opener and my other opening partner, our plan was, because the boundary was so big, we have to go hard in the power play to utilize the power play with only the 2 fieldsmen outside. And I think in the 5 overs we got about 45 or something in the power play overs.
I was totally pumped up with this minor league, and that's a good opportunity for us. And so yeah, the ball was swinging really good. That was my weapon, and it's worked for me. If anyone know Honey Gori, that's only because of Czech Republic, because I represent them. And I have a love for that country, and I always with them. And yeah, that's a good opportunity for us. Like we're never going to get a chance in more like leagues, in minor leagues. So I got chance here, and I want to perform.
And that's a tremendous catch there, Kyle Phillip.
I think it's the team plan and the captain. I'm trying to be flexible and bowl at any point in time. I believe as a professional, you can be called on at any point in time and you have to produce. So I'm just trying to fit into the team and however way I can help. So my goal is to play cricket for USA for my career, so for a long time. I also want to play franchise and as much cricket as I can play. But my main priority is to play for USA. I want to take us to a World Cup and hopefully win a World Cup one day. I believe that we have the talent to do so. And Major League is preparing us for that, I believe, by putting all the top talent from everywhere in the country playing against each other. I think we need to do this a little more often, and then we can have a very strong system here.
The Cardinals would have comprehensive revenge on Sunday, bowling the Lions out for 71 and chasing it down by 10 wickets with 57 balls to spare. The win puts Morrisville ahead by 4 points, but the Fire have 2 games in hand. With the Cardinals, Jaskaran Malhotra, and the Atlanta Fire's Stephen Taylor and Aaron Jones likely to tour with USA to Oman, it should be interesting to see how the South shapes up. Rain held the East to just 4 games, the results of which would mix up the top of the table in the tightest division in the league. The New Jersey Stallions capitalized with wins against Empire State Titans and New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers, while the previously undefeated Manhattan Yorkers fell to Philadelphia by 7 wickets and DC in another Duckworth-Lewis match by 8 wickets. Weather permitting, we'll see 7 crucial games in the East this weekend, each one worth watching for their effect on the standings alone, especially the Philadelphians taking on the first-place Stallions and the third-place Yorkers, and the DC Hawks playing 2 against the Empire State Titans. Tune in for sure. Let's take a look at the leaderboards in each conference at the midway point, starting with the Atlantic. In batting, we've got Xavier Marshall leading in runs, followed by Sunny Sahal, Ravi Inder Singh, Dominic Ricky, Jonathan Fu, and Jaskaran Malhotra. For the bowlers, we have Jessy Singh leading with wickets, tied with Sarbjit Singh Lada, just 1 ahead of Stephen Wigg, Corney Dry, Manoj Acharya, and Shiva Kumar Duvarapu. Jacobus Pinar leads all Pacific batsmen in runs, followed by Andres House, Ryan Scott, Willem Leddick, Marty Kane, and Nikhil Kanchan. Vatsa Vaghela leads Pacific bowlers in wickets with 16, followed by Najam Iqbal, Karthik Gadapelli, Matthew Ford, Osman Rafiq, and Siddharth Trivedi. But it's good to put these performances in a bit of a perspective, and that's where Instagram's MILC USA Stats comes in, aka Akhilesh Swami of the USA U19 West Zone Blues. Not every ground is created equally, and so runs change value from venue to venue. For example, let's look at the toughest grounds to score on in the league, based on first innings averages. Paramveer's cricket ground is a batter's paradise, yielding 206 runs per first innings, although based upon a small sample size. Exton Park follows at 180, followed by Mack Cricket Stadium, Atlanta Cricket Fields, and Lynn Oaks. In contrast, Church Street Park is the toughest ground to score on, yielding an average first innings of 101 runs, 20 runs lower than the second place Veterans Memorial Park and third place Morgan Hill, with Musa Stadium and Seattle's Klahani Park right behind. Looking at which batsmen are most crucial to their team's scoring, we've got Andres House leading the way, scoring 36.6% of his team's total runs, followed by Hollywood's Cody Chetty, Empire State's Trayvon Griffith, East Bay Blazers' David White, and St. Louis Americans' Jacobus Pinar. Thank you, Akhilesh, for contributing. We're going to rely on your stats quite a bit in the future. Joining me now is Jessy Singh, USA Cricket and New Jersey Stallions fast bowler. Jessy, I appreciate you taking the time to join the program.
Pleasure's all mine, Nate.
There isn't a tighter division than the East. 6 of the 7 teams in the division can still finish in first place. From my own perspective, these games are very serious. I wouldn't call them grudge matches, but are these rivalries as intense as they appear on the streams?
Well, obviously, like you said, it is the toughest division we have. There's about 6-7 teams that are equally very competitive and has good amount of pro players that plays regularly in these conditions. They've been playing for the last, I would say, good 5-6 years. They come play the local seasons as well, the club games. So everybody's pretty experienced on these conditions, and there are players in the teams that are played higher levels as well. So it is competitive. But from rivalries, I don't think there's any personal grudges with any teams and stuff. But it's good to have a bit of a friendly rivalry in the games, because that gets you going once you step on the field. Other than that, for us, we're just playing to our strength. We're just enjoying our cricket, not worrying about the opposition too much. That's about it. We don't really have any anything, and anything personal against any teams. We just step on the field and look to play our tough cricket we can.
So you mentioned you just look to play your style of cricket. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about the New Jersey Stallions? What the strengths are? What's your identity? What can fans expect to see when they turn it on and watch the Stallions play?
I think our strength is our unity. We've been, before the minor league, we started practicing about good 4 or 5 weeks before the season started. So gelling well with each other. We have a diverse group of players. As you could see, we have bit of everything in the team. So to me, I think that itself is a plus point. When you have a people from different part of the world, they bring a different kind of experience and different kind of culture to the team, and then that's where you look to form your club culture around that, and then you sort of look to stick together and play your best cricket. And like I said, our strength is our unity. We enjoy each other's success. We back each other up. And then more important, everyone in the team knows their individuals. They know their strength, what their strength is, and what their weaknesses are. So we just look to play to our strength. And at the end of the day, everyone is aiming to win, whatever helps the team, and that's I think that's what it's pushing it to be on the top every game we play.
So you've played for USA Cricket. You've been involved in the CPL, but you grew up in New Jersey. So you've been around the national scene for a long time. You're the definition of a homegrown American cricketer. Do you believe the attention on the domestic cricket scene in this country has ever been more focused than it is now?
No, I think this is the best domestic setup we have. We have had in a while. I would say ever since I've been a part of it. We used to have a over the weekend, national tournaments that would last for about 4 to 5 days, and then you would pick the team out of it. And I have seen a lot of good players who happen to have had a bad weekend. They missed out on playing in national cricket just because of that one particular weekend, and they're such a good players. And I think this setup really gives a platform to majority of the players that been knocking on the national door to be part of a US national team. This gives them a perfect platform where including the youth guys as well. As we know, we must play 2 under 19 players in the team as well. So that gives an equal opportunity for everyone to perform in this tournament and put their name up to the selection panel, where selectors will be looking at it for them to make it to the national side. So I think this is really a impressive tournament.
Yeah, and speaking of your young players, your U21 and your U19s, you have a few good ones on your team, and you utilize them, and they certainly seem to have a solid spot on the team. They're not just token players, and it's great to see that from a team that's at the top of the table.
That's the plus point we have. The under 21 and under 19 two players that we have, and the other two are on the bench that we have. They're not one of those players that you're playing them because you have to fill that spot for U19 and U21, but they're good enough to be part of any senior team as well. Ray is our under 21 in the first playing 11, and he's been doing amazing for us. He's been bowling great. He's been batting well as well. He played a couple of cameo knocks, came down the order, and played amazing knocks, which helped the team win as well. And he's the kind of player who can, who can go bat open, one down, anywhere you send him, and he's a guy who can adapt the situation really quick and go perform accordingly. And the next one is Sai. Sai is probably one of the best in the country right now. He as seen in the under 19 tournament I think this year in Houston. He was the best batsman out of the under 19 tournament, and then he certainly proved it in the last game against Cavaliers.
Right.
He was struggling, but the whole team, myself, and we backed him up. And this, you could see the results. He produced in the game against Cavaliers last week, and he scored about, I think, 65 out of 70 runs.
Yeah.
But the knock he played, it was amazing. Now you could see that it was from my side, from my team. I think that was one of the most compact inning from our batting unit, and that tells you the potential this kid has in coming years, and what he can do for the Stallions, and what he's capable to do for USA cricket. Yeah, I think we've been lucky. We've been lucky enough so far to be playing all the games. There were rain out chances, but somehow we happened to play all the games. Even this weekend, I know there were a couple of games on Sunday for other teams that washed out, but luckily we were able to play on Saturday. We played the DC games in pretty bad conditions. The run-ups were bad. It was wet and all that, but at the end we were able to win the game. So I'm happy the way the whole team is making the most of any conditions we've been put on. And that just tells you the characters that we have in our team, that once you step on a field, we looking to make best out of the conditions that we've been given, because there's a lot of the players that are so used to playing on turf wickets and good fast outfields. I myself I've been struggling to ball on these sandy run-ups with the mat without spikes, but hey, such as cricket right now, this is what we have, and we have to make the most of it. You got to assess the conditions as fast as you can, and then look to do the best you can for the team. And I think that's where the whole group of Stallions is doing a tremendous job, and I think that's what is helping us to stay on the top.
Team USA is preparing for Oman. You're tied for the lead in wickets in the Atlantic Conference with 15. You've got the best economy of any bowler in the conference with at least 8 wickets. I know it's a different format, but how do you like your chances for a call-up to the USA squad for this tour?
I mean, to me, once you're in a good rhythm, you just look to build on that, whether you're playing a shorter format or a longer format. Once you're in a good rhythm, you know what you're doing, the things you're doing in your control. You're on top of your strength, and then you're peaking at the right time. Then once you're peaking at the right time, certain small little changes in a game from shorter format to harder to longer format is not a big deal to me. That's how I look at it. It's really important. It's really important for me to stay in my best shape, stay fit, and stay focused. Once we get to Oman, we will be playing, two practice games as well, and 20 net sessions. So obviously, once you get into that zone, your mindset starts to, shift into that longer format and then you have a coach like a Jack. Jack is very helpful in these terms, where he comes in and plays his role, where he, certainly he'll set you up, in that mindset. So for me, I'm just trying to stay in my best shape, and continue to ball well while I'm in a good rhythm, and then make the most of it, and I'll just look to build on from here.
If you do get chosen, and if you do head off to Oman, I'm sure the team will be better off for it. And I'd like to say thank you very much for joining us this week, and best of luck to yourself, Team USA, and the New Jersey Stallions.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you once again.
Time now for a special Emerging Cricket Emerging Player of the Week segment. Since it's the mid-season point, we'll not only name the Emerging Player of the Week, but also the Emerging Player of the first half. Joining me, as always, the emerging Aaman Patel. Aaman, how did it go in week 4?
Man, these guys really want to make it difficult for us. The emerging players have just gotten better and better and better every single week. And just to go off here and name a few, just in the Atlantic division alone, I look at Saite Jemukamala of the New Jersey Stallions, Akhilesh Bogadam of the Atlanta Fire, the Montreal Cardinals are spewing out young talent in Aditya Padala, Aditya Gupta, Abhiram Bolasetti, and Rohan Fadke. All of those guys just in the Atlantic zone alone really outperformed everyone.
Akhilesh Singh from Hollywood, Subramanian from Atlanta, Abhishek Pardkar and Rahul Jarawala from the Strikers, Ray Ramratan from the Stallions, Yasser Muhammad from the Cavaliers, Arjun Vajala from Michigan, the Cardinals that you mentioned, to name a few, and then of course Sanjay Krishnamurthy, who doesn't seem to have many bad days at all. So, who stood out the most to you of everybody?
I think there's three guys that really just stood out to me. I look at Saite Jemukamala, who scored 60 odd off 44 deliveries in a match that his team desperately needed to win, and he was really the cornerstone for them. I look at Aditya Gupta, who had 6 overs, 5 wickets, and then also in one match had 20 off of 16, so a little bit of an all-around performance there. And then I look at Vatsa Vagala, who's just absolutely killing it. 7 overs and 6 wickets is absolutely ridiculous. What he's doing out there at Golden State is unreal.
Yeah, it's rough. One of the games that he lost, he was the only bowler in the whole team to take wickets. He took 3 of them. So even when the team that they're facing was on fire, they still couldn't handle him. Size Stallions are in the middle of the tightest race in the league in the East, and his batting performance helped keep them in first place when the rest of the division kind of had washouts. So that was a really, really great game, a really great way for them to take advantage of a opportunity. So that makes a strong case for him, and I've got to lean towards him as the emerging player of the week for week 4.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree with you. I think the saying goes, big time players make big time plays in big time games. And this was a big time game for the Stallions side. They needed him to step up, and he absolutely did, scoring again 60 odd, 44 deliveries. And it was really the cornerstone for that win. So for me, the emerging player of the week has to go to Saite Jemukamala.
So congrats to Sai for winning our emerging player of the week for week 4. Aaman, let's now name the emerging player for the first half. And I'll just say it pretty much has to be Vatsal Veghela, who somehow missed out on week 4 in spite of 6 wickets in 7 overs. He leads the entire minor leagues in wickets, and the Grizzlies have only played 6 games. They have 10 games in hand. You have to put him in the conversation at this point for the USA men's T20 consideration, don't you?
I mean, this is a close and shut case. I mean, you look at for the half the season, Vatsal Veghela, unbelievable, 16 wickets, and like you said, 6 games, still 10 games in hand. And like you said, with the men's team, you absolutely have to put him in consideration. This is what the whole league was made to do, right? Bring these players into the limelight and put their performances on display and on show, and allow selectors to really see them against some of the highest level competition in the United States. He's performing against it. And if I'm a men's selector, I have to look at him and give him a very serious shake.
Yeah, his team sure isn't shying away from giving him every chance in big moments. Let's hope that happens for him. Let's hope he gets into the selection camp for the men's team. I think it'll only help everybody. So Aaman, thanks again for joining me. This was an extra tough week. It's getting harder every week. You know, we're gonna start losing sleep soon. But it's always fun. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Now it's time for things I like about week 4. Minor League Cricket's At the Crease with Joel Manning, where Joel interviews Unmuck Chand for his first episode.
I toured around the entire country before, signing up the contract, and I'm surprised to see so much of cricket happening in the US, which, when I landed here, I didn't have any idea. But the moment I landed up in the US and saw the amount of cricket which is being played here was something which just blew off my mind.
Oh, well, that's interesting that you mentioned that contract, because that's my next question for you. You just signed with Major League Cricket. The future certainly looks bright for you. What are you hoping to achieve with the Major League and also with USA Cricket on a whole?
Well, obviously, at the end of the day, for any cricketer, it's really important to play some good cricket, and that is also one of the reasons why I chose to come to the US.
A silly point in a T20, that's very interesting.
Local women's zonal teenagers appearing on comms in Morrisville. They did an excellent job, but when I asked them if comms were more intimidating than playing in the US National Championship, they didn't hesitate.
I've got to say doing comms, because regionals, inter-regionals, that's something I'm comfortable with, is playing the cricket, not talking about it. But it was a really good experience to do the commentary.
Awesome. The Philadelphians pitched the next film in the Air Bud franchise. Things I really don't like about Week 4. The ICC Americas U19 Men's World Cup qualifier has been called off, and Canada will be advancing on the basis of having secured more wins in the previous 5 World Cup qualifying events. As many of our viewers have followed Emerging Cricket's USA U19 content over the last year, we'd like to join you all in mourning. Considering the talent on display this year by USA U19 men's hopefuls, Canada won't be sorry that they don't have to face them. As per usual, I leave you with this week's top 10.
Try to go across, bold. Hit in the air. Okay, that's ready. Another one. Break of sixes.
And that's a tremendous catch there, Kyle Phillip.
Oh, chasing a toll. 176, but never mind. Delivery on its way. That one is hit. Ooh, high in the air. Wait.
On quite nicely off the pitch, getting some skid. Shot straight back. Is that going to clear? Oh, by the hands.
Dane makes a century. Dane makes a century. A skipper innings.
And straight back shot. Fielder there though. Oh, that's a tremendous he didn't get that catch. Oh, he did.
Short ball up to the left. And Mark makes a century.